Urgency often presents itself as a fire inside the chest, a restless push that insists something must be done now or all will be lost. Yet when examined closely, this flame has no solid fuel. It is a mirage born from thoughts, expectations, and fears. In Buddhist understanding, urgency is not an ultimate reality but a mental fabrication, a product of clinging to time and outcome. Like heat waves rising on a desert horizon, urgency looks real from a distance but dissolves upon closer inspection. When the mind is caught in urgency, it believes that rushing will deliver safety, happiness, or control. But the Buddha pointed out that craving, whether for comfort, security, or recognition, creates suffering. Urgency is simply craving dressed in the costume of speed. The faster we run, the tighter the knot becomes. Consider how the body responds to urgency. The heart races, the breath shortens, and clarity fades. These signs reveal urgency's illusory nature. If it were truth, it would bring steadiness. Instead, it breeds turbulence. Buddhism teaches that awareness is the key to dissolving such illusions. When we pause and witness urgency instead of obeying it, the mind shifts from contraction to openness. Thus, urgency is not an enemy to be fought, but a teacher pointing us back to mindfulness. By observing it as a passing cloud, we begin to see its emptiness. In this seeing, the frantic need to hurry begins to fade, leaving room for stillness to guide the next step. The Buddha was often described as walking with a serene, deliberate pace. In stories preserved in the early texts, he never rushed, even when others felt the pull of urgency. His steps embodied the very teaching he offered, each movement grounded in awareness, untouched by the clamor of haste. Observers noticed this quality not merely as elegance, but as a living demonstration of freedom from inner storms. This unhurried presence was not indifference. Rather, it reflected a profound alignment with reality. The Buddha understood that life unfolds in moments, not in frantic leaps forward. His calm pace revealed the truth that rushing does not bring us closer to peace. It only blinds us to the ground beneath our feet. By slowing down, he invited others to rediscover the fullness of each breath, each gesture, each word. In monasteries that follow his example, monks and nuns continue to walk mindfully, step after step, heel touching earth, toes pressing gently forward. This practice is not simply ritual but training for the heart. Each step whispers, "Now is enough. Nothing is missing." To see the Buddha's pace is to encounter a mirror for our own lives. Where we speed, he shows stillness. Where we chase, he reminds us of presence. His walking becomes a silent teaching. Liberation is not found by hurrying through the world, but by arriving fully where we already are. Time, in the Buddhist view, is not an independent entity but a perception shaped by the mind. We often speak of time as though it were a river carrying us relentlessly forward, yet the Buddha pointed out that past and future exist only as mental constructs. The past survives as memory, the future as imagination. What we truly encounter is always this present moment. When urgency grips us, it feeds on these constructs. We rush because we fear a future outcome or regret a past delay. But when examined, such thoughts reveal themselves as insubstantial. They vanish when the mind becomes fully absorbed in the here and now. A second of stillness can expand into a vastness that feels timeless, showing us how flexible our perception truly is. Meditative practice makes this truth clear. Sitting in silence, one observes how a single breath can stretch beyond the ordinary boundaries of time. The ticking clock fades, and what remains is the direct experience of life as it is, vivid, immediate, unbroken. In this state, urgency loses its foundation, for it depends on measuring what is not actually present. Understanding time as perception does not mean dismissing schedules or responsibilities, but it transforms how we relate to them. We no longer serve the clock as a master. Instead, we see it as a tool. The pressure of urgency softens when we realize that time itself is woven from thought, and freedom lies in the clarity of the present. Modern culture praises busyness as if it were proof of worth. To be productive, fast, and always occupied is treated as a badge of honor. Yet beneath this constant motion lies the same restlessness the Buddha identified more than 2,500 years ago: craving. Productivity, in its obsessive form, becomes another expression of tanha, the thirst that binds beings to suffering. We chase tasks the way others chase wealth or status, believing that completion will deliver peace. But when one task is finished, another appears. The cycle never ends because its roots are not in the tasks themselves, but in the desire for achievement, recognition, or security. Urgency becomes the drumbeat of this chase, pushing us to run faster though the finish line never arrives. The Buddha compared such striving to a man chasing the horizon. No matter how far he runs, the horizon retreats. Likewise, productivity promises satisfaction but offers only brief relief before the cycle begins anew. When we mistake busyness for meaning, we trade depth for speed, connection for efficiency. In Buddhist practice, the invitation is to step out of this snare. Work remains, but it is approached with awareness, not compulsion. A task completed in mindfulness nourishes rather than drains. It becomes an offering rather than a performance. By recognizing the craving behind our obsession with busyness, we loosen urgency's grip and rediscover the quiet dignity of simply doing one thing fully, without rushing to the next. The breath is the most immediate antidote to urgency. While the mind races ahead, projecting deadlines and worries, the breath remains steady, rising and falling in its own rhythm. In Buddhist practice, mindfulness of breathing is not only a technique but a doorway into reality as it is. By returning to the breath, one steps out of the imagined future and into the present moment, where urgency dissolves like mist under sunlight. Notice what happens when urgency takes hold. The breath becomes shallow, almost clipped, as if the body itself is bracing for impact. By choosing to pause and take one conscious inhale and exhale, we remind the body that there is no tiger chasing us, no true emergency pressing on our chest. This simple act interrupts the cycle of reactivity. Many meditation teachings encourage counting breaths or feeling the air as it passes the nostrils or expands the belly. These practices ground awareness in something steady and real. As the mind settles into the rhythm of breathing, the weight of urgency lifts. What once seemed pressing is seen in its proper scale, just another passing thought, not a command. Breath against the clock is a quiet rebellion. It is a refusal to be enslaved by urgency's illusion. In the space of one slow breath, we rediscover vastness. We realize that life is not slipping away but arriving, right here, one inhale, one exhale at a time. Urgency often disguises itself as a battle against impermanence. We rush because we fear moments slipping away, or because we long to capture and secure them before they vanish. Yet the Buddha taught that impermanence is not an enemy but the very fabric of existence. To fight it is to fight life itself. To embrace it is to discover freedom. When we recognize that all things arise and pass, the compulsion to hurry softens. Every sound, every breath, every sensation is transient, like ripples across a pond. There is no need to cling, no need to chase. Rushing does not preserve moments, it only blinds us to their fleeting beauty. In learning to flow gently with impermanence, we begin to taste peace. Consider a flower. Its bloom is brief, but its impermanence makes it luminous. To rush past it in search of permanence is to miss the gift it offers. Likewise, our experiences, pleasant or painful, gain depth when we meet them fully rather than hurrying toward the next. The practice of gentle flow is not passivity, it is wisdom in motion. It allows us to engage with life wholeheartedly while accepting its changing nature. In this way, impermanence is not a reason for urgency but a reminder to slow down. Each moment, fragile and unrepeatable, deserves our presence more than our haste. In a world that prizes efficiency, compassion can seem slow, even impractical. Yet the Buddha placed kindness at the heart of his teachings, showing that the true measure of our actions lies not in their speed, but in their depth of care. Urgency demands that we move quickly, often at the expense of attentiveness to others. Compassion invites us to pause, to see, to respond with presence rather than haste. Think of how urgency affects our relationships. We rush through conversations, offer half-listening ears, or treat people as obstacles to be managed. In contrast, compassion slows us down. It asks us to look into another's eyes, to hear their suffering, to honor their humanity. This shift transforms ordinary encounters into sacred moments of connection. In Buddhist ethics, compassion is not optional. It is a natural expression of awakening. To embody it, we must release the grip of urgency. Rushing through life leaves little room for tenderness. But when we choose compassion over speed, our actions carry a weight that far outlasts quick results. Even simple gestures, like offering a calm word or a patient silence, ripple outward more powerfully than hurried efficiency ever could. Compassion brings harmony, while urgency breeds disconnection. By slowing down enough to care, we align ourselves with the path of the Buddha, where love, not haste, shapes the rhythm of life. To live beyond urgency is to awaken to equanimity, the balanced mind that neither clings nor resists, but meets life as it is. When urgency loses its grip, we discover a rhythm that is not dictated by the clock, but by the gentle unfolding of presence. Tasks still arise, responsibilities remain, but they are no longer driven by fear or compulsion. Instead, they are carried out with clarity, steadiness, and peace. Daily life becomes a practice of returning. Each time urgency whispers, "Hurry or you will fall behind," we return to the breath, to the body, to the simple reality of now. In this way, we train ourselves to see through urgency's illusion again and again, until it no longer deceives us. This way of living does not remove challenges, but it transforms our relationship to them. A difficult task is no longer a storm demanding frantic action, but a cloud passing through a vast sky. The mind remains spacious, able to act wisely rather than react blindly. Equanimity becomes our compass, guiding us to live with dignity rather than haste. Beyond urgency lies a life where peace is not postponed, but available in each moment. This is the gift of the Dharma, to awaken from the illusion of urgency and step into the timeless ground of freedom that has always been here. As the journey of reflection comes to rest, let us pause together in the quiet. The teachings on urgency have carried us through mirages, stories, and practices, all pointing to a simple truth: life need not be rushed. The Buddha's wisdom whispers gently across centuries, reminding us that each moment already contains the peace we seek. There is nowhere else to run, nothing else to capture. What is before us, here and now, is enough. Take a slow breath. Feel the rise of the chest, the fall of the belly. Notice how the body softens when it is no longer pushed by unseen pressures. Notice how the mind begins to open when urgency fades. In this openness, there is space for compassion, for kindness, for a presence that touches the world with quiet strength. Imagine a river moving gently, not in haste, yet it reaches the ocean without fail. Such is the way of a life beyond urgency. Steady, flowing, unforced. To live in this way is not to abandon responsibility, but to honor it more deeply, by meeting it with clarity instead of tension. Each step, each word, each breath becomes an offering of peace. As night draws near, allow these reflections to cradle you. Let the body rest, the mind uncoil, the heart settle into spacious calm. Whatever hurried thoughts arise, let them pass like drifting clouds. There is no need to chase them, no need to resist. Only this stillness remains, vast and kind. Here, in this stillness, urgency cannot touch you. Here, you are free.